Q here. Welcome to the channel if you found it. I'm going to shuffle up and dive into a 12 Zodiac reading here directly. Don't get distracted. It's a delight. 10 cups on the bottom. As Aries, there's a whirlwind of energy approaching you. Make sure that you get your head straight. Taurus, see the choice and the beauty and knowledge there and eat of the fruit. Whoa. The divine feminine there is the nature of expression. Gemini, see the means to the end, Cancer, in the four paintings. Religion there, see the difference between spirituality and religion there, Leo. Make your own assessment via knowledge and your own nature and see that it means well, sometimes not. Magic, there's magic in the air for you there, Virgo. See the inverse of all of these cards here, because most of Blake's imagery is made to be seen upside down as well too. I noticed he had a same liking to perspective and different views within his art as well, as I've used this deck a little bit. As you see here, it looks like this individual is being sacrificed, but if you look underneath, who's being sacrificed? Those are lightning bolts coming out of that guy's hand. So transform your perception, I guess, is the thing I wanted to tell you, Virgo. The sun, happiness, illumination, truth, warmth, nourishment, the very thing that allows us to exist. Our nice little shell of a little planet wouldn't have its little shell unless the sun was there, and there wouldn't be anything on this planet at all but a cold, frozen glop of nothingness, unless that orb of heat exploding out in the distance. 8 minutes away if you move really, really fast. But it's still very, very important. Just as truth is. Let it illuminate your life and bring happiness. Truth is naturally healing. Archangel Michael's energy, frequency, is the same thing. That's why it's so healing to hear truth. It may be harsh, it may be horrible, it may be hurtful, but ultimately it's healing. And when you heal, you become stronger. You can take anything, and you also help others see the light of the sun as well. Assessment. Scorpio, something seems out of balance for you, or those that look upon you see out of balance. Assess what is outweighing one thing of the other and find and seek harmony between the two, or 3 or 4 or 5, or all the things of life, because it's all of creation for everything, even the speck of dust that flies past your nose. Good Lord. Sagittarius, reason, the divine masculine. Assessment. Also, give a hat tip to those that help you. I always notice this individual in the background that's working hard to help this divine masculine, but he's so closed and fixated on his purpose that he may forget those that helped him and may offer the knowledge that they may be missing to transform and see things differently. Sometimes when your head's in the cloud, all you can see is the whirlwind around you. Happiness, Capricorn. He who binds to himself a joy does the winged life destroy. But he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise. It's beautiful, poignant, and expresses not duality, but the presence and absence of clutching. It's showing and displaying and talking about in the poetry, or the song as its music, the downside of clutching, or the 4 of Pentacles in Standard Tarot. See what elevates your happiness, because happiness exists already inside of you. Is it a small ember, or is it a raging forest fire? Only you can transform it into whatever type of heat that you need. Study and learn. See the nature of the world. See that everyone's doing the best they can by virtue of doing what they're doing. No one's, I won't say no one. It is ultra rare for someone that chooses something for the bad for the sake of bad. Or bad as in against their cause. Or if you're trying to go to Chicago and you're in the direction that's taking you to California, I guess I could call that a bad direction. But all roads lead to home. It's just how long do you want your journey to be? So make sure you study up and see the nature of the world and learn from the knowledge of the storm of energy. Transform it, change your perception, assess what is out of balance in your life, and gain happiness by seeing the reason that happiness is even a thing that can even be. We exist. And by virtue of that, we have happiness. See where the happiness is in your life. And learn from it. Observe it. Ask another. Be like, do I seem happy? As the woman of music shows up again, loud and more loud, the living music floats upon the air as she plays her lyre in the audience of just her. I wonder if she knows all of creation is watching her play and loving every moment. I hope they have happiness in that moment. I see a smile on the face. I see a smile on the face. I see smiles on the faces. The only face that I don't see a smile on would be this child that's too busy looking instead of learning. Interesting. I don't know why it went that way, but here we are. I won't restrict myself in the chains and bondage. I will cry a tear or two for the things that I did restrict myself with, but I throw off these chains and cast them off and learn my lessons from them and transform them and reevaluate our perception of the nature of the things that we use to restrict ourselves, the means to restrict happiness. Why? Ask yourself that. Why would I restrict my happiness? It's always for someone else, and you think it's out of survival. Survival is guaranteed until it's not. So I will suggest this for the day. Act as if survival is guaranteed all day and see how your choices and selection of activities and joys and happiness may be elevated to a level of delight worthy of a painting for all. Toss away the things that nip at your heels, as the dog in the Fool, the Zero card in tarot, is always nipping at the person that's trying to get him to jump. But sometimes be spontaneous, be unpredictable, as the Innocence card is suggested in the translation of this imagery. He tosses that dog to the monster instead of leaping in because he knew he hesitated for a reason. He trusted his intuition, and the nipping dog was just trying to get him to jump as he was told. Interesting. Look at all the major arcana. Oh, inspiration. I didn't mean to jump to that, but you know, an ace of solidness with a seraphim sitting on front of it is just diving into this man's lips as he wants to speak. I come in self-annihilation to cast off the rotten rags of memory by inspiration to cast aside from poetry all that is not inspiration. Get off me unless you're inspiring. To to intake that which can burn. I like that. The world and life's mystery is I mean, it is all written. However, it's all expressed. Hence, parallel universes and parallel expressions in Earth 22193, Earth 318. Or if you've ever seen Community, the darkest timeline. But you can timeline hop all you like. Just be aware, when you timeline hop, it's not travel, it's hopping. You can't get back to the original. At least, not that I've observed yet. But boldness will carry you through, and you'll find happiness wherever you are, because it's a state of being, and the sun's in all of those. Sometimes two. So let's leave that out there. We'll do mystery, hardship, and a man of music. This man has existed because music, as it exists in old tunes or melodies, is inspiration. And what did this say about inspiration? Somewhere? I forgot where it was. Oh. Cast from my lips anything that isn't inspiration. And cannot be suppressed. It is perfect and eternal. And the infinite can even overcome the eternal. So again, ever so kindly, please stop boxing the infinite. It's no longer infinite then, and you cut yourself short of happiness, experience, and the very expression of the nature of life. Lightning. Lightning is where we first saw fire. Look how I just changed that to birthing and creation versus the destruction that the tower, lightning in this case, is always expressed as. I am thinking of the quote from The Fifth Element when Zorg is quoting the destruction thing. Yes. However, you're not God, dude. So don't force things. Forced towers is just manipulation of energy. And that's magic, not lightning. All right. Give me 2 more cards here, and we'll cross it with the bottom, as we're having a transformational, reversal, hangman expression of changing the way we see things, our paradigm. It's a pleasure to dance this circle. Ye cannot experience pleasure but by the means of others. It's very... I wouldn't say cannot. I would say it's elevated by the means of others. But our isolation period that we've recently experienced worldwide has taught us to learn the pleasure of experience, even if it's only witnessed by one. It still collapses the wave function because, well, there's an observer. So keep observing and see that prophecy, as you may know all the things, cannot keep you from experience. You may foresee that it may be this way, but what timeline were you seeing? No. And that's why sometimes it's not exactly the way you saw it, but it was the way you felt it. See the discipline and the difference. And this man should be telling that woman, we can't go any further unless we're going to stay up overnight. And I don't see no tent. Walk away from that bad idea. Or is the sun rising? I don't know. I would imagine his hesitation as it's suggesting discipline is that the sun is setting and they don't want to be stuck on a ocean rock. Let's find our crossing card for all of those 5 cards there, and I'll go through. There we are. From everything that we've learned, we're expressing it in art, in music, in poetry, and in the very, a dance should be a thing on here, the very movement of life itself, that inspiration. Truth. That's the Ace of Swords, or the Ace of Science in this matter. He needs a pin in those toes. All right, so I diverged from a 12 zodiac reading, but it's still a 12 zodiac reading. But it's more or less a tale that connects us all, because we are all connected. It's not just Aries and Pisces and Cancer and Sagittarius. All of these are all experiences on this nature of life. Just what part of the spoke are you on? Because you'll eventually hit one of them, or all of them. You'll hit all of them. So it's important to pay attention to each individual vantage point and see how it may be informative knowledge that you could use to make happiness and assessments and see the reason behind the maelstrom that is life. All right, so let's go through and we'll isolate each little slice as I toss these up here. Mystery, hardship, and the man of music, as we reverse our thinking and see the pleasure in sharing our experience and express it to others. So again, slice 1, Aries. There's a whirlwind of energy, as I just filleted out there. Taurus, the knowledge, the choice, the lover's card. As we eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge, we gain the means to know experience, to know happy days, and to know the mystery of life. Yes. Gemini, the nature of life is to nourish and help others along the way, to help all see the sun and happiness and the knowledge of the whirlwind of the mystery of life. So if you got a grip on it, help another to see it as well too. It'll also solidify that you do have a grip on it. It's beautiful. This is divine feminine energy. Means the 4 of paintings, which would be the 4 of cups. Notice that this is not disappointment at all. It is just the way of life. 3 daughters. He's just like, I don't have a son. But he's not sad about it. He's just like, well, this is the mystery the whirlwind of life gave me. I'm happy, and I'll teach them how to be, because gender is irrelevant, and this wise man sees. The religion here, I see angels who wield love, big L, not small l, over the doctrine of the devil-like figure of the pompous, plump, bat-winged, sour-sullied individual in the background reading from a book instead of the actual experience itself. Know what you're transforming here, there, Virgo. Shoot lightning bolts out if you need to, because it gets overwhelming as the energy builds up. There's nothing wrong about being angry or upset. You transform it into the raw energy that it is and see the benefit of the maelstrom, of its purpose, its means. So what are you transforming there, Virgo? Happiness, Libra. Flowing up the river towards the sun. The water's moving down, yet these individuals are flowing effortlessly up to it. When you are happy, illuminated, and live in truth, You can flow upstream just as easily as you went down. Smiling at the out of balance, huh? Sometimes it's okay to give more or require more, but make sure it's reciprocal when needed on the other side, and also you're not manipulating. But he's got a smile on his face as he's assessing that, and he sees that one is out of balance and one is could use some more on the scale. Maybe it's more happiness and less sorrow. Look at that. We just reversed how you were seeing that. Use your compass. Set your eyes towards the sun. Make sure that you pull your head up from your work and your studies to go get happiness, some joy, and see the nature of life. Sagittarius. Capricorn. You're dancing the dance that always shows happiness. You are in a good space. And if you fail to see that at the moment, look around and assess how you may reverse your thinking and see, at least cherry pick. But don't dwell or put yourself in the mud because you're cognitive dissonance. Make sure that you are expressing happiness from within and not some object that you can grab and assess or take from the outside. The child of science here, which would be the Page of Swords, is observing his distraction more so than his studies. Kind of the counter, see the polarization there? Too much on not and too much on in. Find the happy harmony between the two. The balance, or as I like to say again, harmony, because balance implies 50-50, but I like equilibrium. Sometimes harmony and equilibrium are a better suited word there, because again, sometimes you want 80% happiness versus the other. They're Aquarius. And the woman of music, loudly and proudly being herself when there's no one watching. Take that energy to when people are watching and just pretend that they're not. If you want to pretend anything, which the Queen of Wands, as that is traditional tarot represents, is all about pretense. Pretense that no one's watching, or pretend that no one is watching. And express yourself as boldly, proudly, and loudly as you do, as if you're singing in the shower. A lot of people that have shower singing voices actually have great voices, but they're too afraid of judgment of others in order to express that out in public. So screw it. You may sound horrible, but if you want to get good, you'll practice and learn. Otherwise, you're just having fun and expressing a whirlwind of your happiness in the manifest. I'm a windbag on this one, but I don't know. There is, how many major arcana did we get on this? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. Out of 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 10 out of 17. That's pretty heavy level major arcana there. So the divine stepping in and showing you that, hey, these are governing energies. Respect them, as we'll end where we started, with forgiveness of the angel energy, of the frequency of Archangel Michael, or in this case, that is Heshuel. How many bells rang for them to get their wings? One from the cup. Oh yeah, from this. Yeah. Oh, I don't know why everybody bugs at that so much, but that entity the beauty behind the Christ figure, there's two different, fun fact. The Christ figure, and also there's the Savior figure. They're two different energies. Savior is that of unconditional love. I will advocate for you because this shit is hard. And how does he know this shit was hard? Well, he descended from heaven directly. No, imagine this. Never ever having a previous life. No karma or nothing. And that was a life that you got. That was a solid. It isn't like the Buddha or Zoroaster or all the other enlightened sages that have many lifetimes to learn all the lessons and built up karma and had to undo things. No, it can be kinesiologically tested out that that individual, for lack of a better word, descended directly down from a pristine state, heaven, because he had no prior lifetimes, yet came down to us as pristine. The bar. The bar was set. Not for nothing though, I would look at the home energy and be like, now it's your turn to go down and do it because I did it. And that's how I can advocate here. It's funny to me. But yeah, imagine that. No karma, and that was still the life that you were dealt, and you still did it. Because you didn't have to. Shit. I would have thrown that cross down and be like, I ain't carrying this shit. Y'all gonna crucify me? Y'all can do it right here and now, or y'all can just find somebody else that can carry this thing up here and I'll happily march my ass up there, but I ain't carrying that. And could, you know... All for purpose, all the means to create the way for us to be able to know happiness. It's through the forgiveness. For people only do what they think is the best at the time for their own survival. And to that lesson I spoke of earlier, survival is guaranteed. Then the time period that individual came down to help, that wasn't even a thing. They were barely surviving then. It evolved. It digressed. It definitely digressed. It diluted itself from the pristine example, expression, words, and it got diluted down so it could survive. But frankly, in retrospect, as I've studied this over a minute or two, the people of that time period needed fear in order to keep them from being the animals. So, as we judge harshly the things that we don't evolve, or, in that individual's words, abrogate, which means to not delete, but to overwrite what is new over the old. And yeah, that may be it's the New Testament abrogated the Old Testament. The vengeful, wrathful, mean daddy God got abrogated to someone that says, hey, dude, it's actually hard here. Chill out. In essence, that's what spiritual, the energy field of that experience and that expression pretty much did. But it was never actually the expression of the divine as the Old Testament mean daddy. That was just mankind projecting its anthropomorphism. I love that big old word. Anthropomorphism onto something it couldn't possibly understand. Again, the infinite, ever so kindly, asks you to cease boxing it. How can I grow if you keep putting me in a box? All right, sorry for the windbag, but there's a reading It's leaving a smile on my face, happiness and illumination, with lots of truths. Permission, authority in front of this audience. Caliber breaks above 200. Yes, it does. So, if you ever find yourself in a dark space, remember what this individual does, still happening. There is no time. Even if it's not a part of your religion. Same thing for anybody calling upon somebody that knows the hardship and could help you with advice there. In the hardest of times, in these hardships. Stop pointing the finger and help me get up out of the fucking mud. Bless humanity's heart. They're just trying. Again, no one does anything that they're trying to do out of sheer deleteriousness. Rare. But most people's doing what they think will be best for their own selves, or, as we've evolved, for our family unit, for our sovereignty, our country. And then the beauty expression of this was something higher than ourselves and our family and than our country, was for the essence of love, big L, not connection, small L. But big L is the very fabric in which all of this can express itself, and how I can make the statement of happiness is an inner state, not something that we can get out there and just grab. That's what's meant by the presence of the divine God, flying spaghetti noodle monster. That field is why that statement can be made. Otherwise, we can just go out there and just grab it. Everything is perfect, even when it's not. Transcending paradoxes. Both and. Again, the divine, the infinite, ever so kindly ask you to cease boxing it. So, if you're in a dark space, Q has got you. And I love this card. It's probably my favorite card in the whole deck. It's the man of poetry, or the king of coins. But it is to justify the ways of God to men. Gloria in Excelsis Deo. Again, if you're in a dark space, Q's got you.